5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You're live with Neve.
All right. Happy Friday, everybody. All right. How's everybody doing? It is Friday. It is Friday, August 19th. We've had all kinds of weird stuff this morning. We're having a great day. Today I have really what I think is one of the cooler guests, a couple of folks who it's just cool for me because I worked for Muzak, the dreaded elevator music company, for many years. And a lot of my friends know that, have been part of my life. And during my Muzak years, I've worked for them in two different periods, in the 90s and then in the 2000s again. I really love the company. I have to tell you, I'm excited. My two guests are Dylan Sandus, who lives here in the New York area. And then from over the pond, I have Donald Deppert. How do I pronounce that? Deppert. There we go, people. Sorry about that. My King's English is awful. Any rate, so we're going to be talking about 9/11. We're going to be talking about music. And we're not going to get into all the heavy, miserable. That was just such an awful time in our history. It still resonates through the New York area and around the world. Just an awful time in our history. And, I hope it doesn't get worse and we have more things like that. To be honest, I'm surprised by this time somebody hasn't tried. Now, we have had people try a little bullshit. I was having dinner in the restaurant district about 8 years ago, something like that, maybe 10. And my kids called me from Florida and said, "Dad, what are you doing?" And I said, "I'm having dinner. Can I call you later?" And they said, "Well, where are you at?" And I said, "Well, I'm in the city." And they said, "Well, there's some nutcase with a bomb." And I went, "What?" I didn't hear anything. I'm sitting up on the roof of this beautiful restaurant. We're having a birthday party we were at. And it was a large time was being had, as they'd say down in the South. I then got a remote, went over and turned on the TV, and sure as hell, they showed Times Square, which is, not far, a couple, 6, 7 blocks max. I then told my kids that I was going to get ready to head back to New Jersey, and I post-haste left. We started walking north, and it started getting a little panicky, like 9/11 type shit. It was really, I was telling people around me, chill out, man. We're all going to get home. Don't start running. Everybody's going to panic. Don't freak out. And I got up to where our car was parked, and I see that New York PD started blocking off in bigger and bigger areas around Times Square. What it was, this was the idiot. It's not the underwear bomber. This is just the idiot bomber. The guy had a Toyota. He loaded it full of all kinds of propane and bullshit. And he went over there and he's screaming, he's jabbering God knows what. He's the religion of world peace. And he was having some kind of don't get offended. I'm not knocking him, but he was having some kind of a religious frenzy. And he sure as hell wasn't a Presbyterian. And thank God the stupid bastard stuff. Yes, panic. You're absolutely right, my friend. Sketch on, Nate. Absolutely. That was the biggest thing. But what I was going to end this with is I got there and our car was down a street that was blocked off, and there was a cop sitting there looking at me. And he said, "What are you doing?" And I, typical New York friendly greeting, welcome to the city. I said, "I'm getting my car out." He goes, "No, you're not." I said, "Oh, yeah, I am." I said, "I'm going to pull this fucking barrier out of the way. My girlfriend's going to drive out. I'm going to pull the barricade back, and I'm getting the fuck out of here." He goes, "Fucking forget about it." And that was it. And I said, "Forget about it." And we all went on our way. It was It was a crazy thing, though. All the people were freaking out. I then joined a convoy of people up the East Side Express, hauling ass to get to the GW Bridge. I mean, people were flipping out, and that's where it was really crazy because you have this 100-mile-an-hour bumper to bumper crazy driving experience. I had a great time though. In spite of that, I have fond memories of the ride home. I'm just gonna leave it at that. And all in all, that was a terrible time. I have to have a little bit of laughs on it because there's nothing else you can really do. I'm crying about it, and it's horrible. But so today we're going to talk about it from a new perspective. I did not know there were people out there who thought of this kind of stuff, but being kind of a science nerd, I like reading a lot and I like seeing stuff. So we had a customer, excuse me, this gentleman came on last week, Daniel, and we were talking about all kinds of other stuff. And he started asking me about my career at Muzak, and then somehow in the conversation we got talking about 9/11 and his interest in the music of it. So that's what we're going to be doing now that I've kind of set this big incident into play. They're just a couple of normal guys. One's in England, one is here, and I'm fascinated to hear it. I just kind of like the fact that people actually looked at Muzak and thought enough about our company. And I was proud of the company when I worked for them, and proud of a lot of the people I worked with. We busted our ass, and we did improve the product. The company was sold and taken apart bit by bit by a Canadian corporate looter. I mean, excuse me, a nice company up in the north. All good people, quiet, friendly. Any rate. So without much more ado, I'm going to bring Dylan on, and here we go. Let's get him on an even footing here, though. Geez, the poor guy's all shrunk down. That's really a psychological trick we do on people to make them feel a little awkward. How you doing, man? Oh, hold on. I do not hear you. Hang on one sec. I got you.
Oh, yes, thank you. I was actually in New York City at the same time during that bombing as well. It was my birthday, and we went to we did a boat tour around the city.
Yes,
And
I live in
then
Highlands. It's one of the spots where people are being dropped off.
so we did a boat tour, and then we came back up. And I always like to go to the Empire State Building because that was opened on my birthday. My birthday's May 1st, so we kind of have a birthday kind of
Mm-hmm.
birthday buddies with the Empire State Building. And then that was when the news broke that there was some guy with a white van or whatever it was in Times Square, and that was it. So I
Huh.
was there for that one. Because I live out on Long Island, so it's
What?
not that far away.
Tell me, while that was going on, did your phone work?
Yes,
You were able to
yes,
contact your loved ones out in Long Island?
yes. We
How
were
far out on the island do you live?
about 30 minutes away from New York City.
Okay.
About 30
30
minutes.
days on a good day or 30 days like
Uh,
on Sunday morning?
Sunday, Friday, it's like an hour and a half. But
Yeah. Well, I live here at the Jersey Shore, so I know it's the same kind of a deal. Everybody's
Yeah.
trying to get out of town in the summer. And hence, when I'd leave Manhattan, it would be like a 3-hour drive to get down here. And I knew better. Hence, I'd just stay in the city and have fun and eat and drink and be merry until the traffic sort of died down. If I left around 5 o'clock, it wasn't that bad because you had 2 hours of madness already.
Yeah.
So Dylan, tell me, man, what got you guys interested in this? We're going to bring Daniel on in a minute. I haven't introduced him yet, but he's laying low, and I don't see any comments from the room. Daniel, hang in there, mate. You're with us. You're in good hands. I promise we're going to be gentle, and we're going to have a great conversation today. So tell me a little bit, Dylan. How did you start?
Well, I've always been interested in it. Saw it as a kid. Lived it. My dad was a first responder. My two uncles were first responders to 9/11. So it was always just part of my life.
Right.
Always read books about it, in the library at school. I was very intrigued. I love history, love American history, and that's the biggest.
How old were you at that time?
I was 4.5. I was 4.5. I was home from school because my school did Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and so Tuesday I was off for that. And then just I just remember a lot of patriotism, a lot of flags as a kid.
That's good.
But I was always intrigued, so I was always on YouTube, Um,
Mhm.
watching, videos, a new video would come out, and you'd say, "Oh, okay, that's cool, new angle," something like that. And I remember in 2010, uh, a man by the name of Jack Talercio, through a Freedom of Information Act, um, we had gotten his footage that he filmed for Fox 5 in New York. If anybody's from New York, they know Fox 5,
Right.
local Fox affiliate. And he had been filming in front of St. Paul's Church, which was right by the entrance of 5 World Trade Center, and
Sure.
filming all of the paramedics and whatnot. And he snuck on to the plaza, and filmed for about 15, 20 minutes on the plaza of the World Trade Center on 9/11. And he picked up the Muzak recordings that were playing there all the time.
Right.
And among them, the only two that we have that we've named is "She's Always a Woman," of course, by Long Island legend Billy Joel,
Right.
and "How Deep Is Your Love." That was the big crux of
Of that video, that's what initially started the interest in it amongst you and
yes,
the other folks.
yes,
How many people do you think are interested in this out there? Because to me, I find it, I put it on with no consideration. I thought we're going to put this out because I think it's kind of fascinating. And every year, what happens is at this time of year, it's such a morbid and it's grim, and for all the people here who suffered through it, not to mention around the world, that traumatized a lot of people. I'm way older than you. You are like a young guy, and I'm
yeah,
an old guy. And I can remember every bit of the day. I was in Tampa, Florida, where President Bush was, and I was involved. We were in the middle of rebuilding CENTCOM, which handles all of the warfighting in the CENTCOM, Central
mhm,
Region of Africa, the Middle East primarily, Egypt, Afghanistan, all that fun. But my crew was over there, and I was at a big mega Baptist church installing a huge, incredible sound system. And my daughter called me and said that she was about 16 at the time. Hence why I asked your age, because I can never tell with you young guys. You young people.
I do look good for
You do
21.
look good, man. You look great. So my daughter called and told me somebody ran into the towers. So first thing I said is, just you're sick, go back to bed. It's okay. Some moron ran into the freaking thing. And I'm like clicking around my phone. And then a few minutes later, she called back again, and the terror in her voice was just unbelievable. And I went, wow. I told her to stay home, call her sister, who was at school in a Jeep, and come home. And then I was at MacDill. My guys were escorted out of MacDill with
Hmm.
people with arms. CENTCOM guys are always really friendly to us. My crew guy's like, hey, man, what are you doing? The world's crazy. They're bringing President Bush to the base here, and we got kicked off at gunpoint. They marched us off to the employee parking. Everybody had to have, clearances and all kinds of shit to even be in that building. And in the days afterwards, things really got weird. Up here, I mean, it was just crazy. For everybody involved, it's such a weird memory.
Mhm,
I can't imagine. My first memory is about the same age as you saw that trade center come down, and that was John F. Kennedy getting killed.
mhm.
And I didn't know what the hell was going on, but I knew my mom was upset and nothing was right. Like no work was going on all of a sudden in her job. Okay, so the sketch
Yes,
guy was involved in the finding of the tracks.
yes.
Could be running. I
Um,
finally hear this. Very cool. Well, I'm about to take a break, and then I'm going to play some of this music for you guys. Thank you for being on the show with me. I
yeah,
really appreciate both of you coming on. And Daniel, I know you're uncomfortable, but feel you're amongst friends, and just pipe in when you want. We've had a great conversation, Daniel and I, by text, but he's pumping it up and getting ready.
yeah.
I am too. I'm always working and improving. So we'll be right back. You're on Live with Neve. We'll see you in 2 minutes.
They sentenced me to 20 years of boredom for trying to change the system from
Yeah, that's right. I'm coming to reward them. That's a song that's about to come out as a single after a long, long time working on a video for it. Getting back to it, Daniel, I thank you for your note, man. Dan is such a sweet guy. Have no worries, man, about not talking or talking. I'm glad you're here. You've introduced me to these two new friends I've got.
Yeah, Dan's an awesome person.
You must be another Dylan fan. So you're hanging out. Welcome to Live with Neve. And anybody, if you're watching the show, please do me one favor, man. Like, share, and subscribe the show on YouTube, not here, because I have got shit YouTube numbers, people, and I want to get them up. And it's really a harder nut to crack than most of us. One of our guests here is commenting. Susan Fine mentioned that her husband was on the 101st floor. He was the site manager, and he saved 12 of his 14 employees.
Everybody was a hero. There's different types of heroes. Some heroes didn't get out, like Wells Crowther, man in the red bandana, and there's a lot of other people, regular people, just going to work one day, and they became heroes, helping each other out. And we had the worst of humanity, but it was also met by the best of humanity, and that's how I look at 9/11.
Sure. I know that for me, to hear the fear in my daughter's voice was really, really a bummer for me. I wanted to go home and protect her. Another thing that a lot of you guys may not know who didn't live here, because I kind of was back and forth and have family here. What was I going to say? Shit, I just have one of those senior citizens brain fart, but here I'm going to go ahead and play some stuff, and we'll see what you think. Okay. Bear with me, peeps. Just take me a second to share this with you. All right, folks, we're going to just give this a listen. Think about that morning. You can kind of meditate on it. For those of you watching, we're having a story here, and it's regarding the music of 9/11. Joined by Dylan Sandus and some of our fans in the audience talking about that day. I feel it really interesting hearing this comment from the sketchy dude. Yeah, I do believe, like all of those archives, they bought and they were in existence when I worked for them. Gosh, it's been a long time. Yeah, the feeling is awful, man. That's too cool. For everybody, you guys are listening, one of my guests from the show is actually the guitarist on this track, Chad Quist. It's interesting because I would have loved to have had Chad on the show today. I think that would have been really cool. It just didn't work out. This is. I want to thank Susan's husband. Eugene was on the 101st floor, and he helped down 12 of 14 part-time employees. That's really that time period was hell. I find it really fascinating how many people are interested in this and know so much about it too. Sorry about that, peeps. All right, I'm going to give it a break for a second. And let me let that cool. All right, everyone. Hang on, I'm getting to the right cue. Wrong cue. Here we go. All right. I am telling you what, life is good here at Live with Neve. Some of the technology is working good and hasn't embarrassed me yet. So you're lucky we didn't have any new gears trouble. Mary Spriggs. Ah, hey, Mary. I got a little music trivia from Mary out in Chicago. Barry Robin and Maurice Gibb incorporated this tune into their photo montage to Andy in their 1998 concert. I could still hear them, and somehow I knew that, and I did not remember it, but she cued me well.
But it's that song. We were all searching for it for months last year, and
Really,
Dan was making kind of recreations to try to help find it, and there was a lot of we found a version from the 80s, and we said, is this it? And it wasn't. It was a little different, and then we found eventually that Mood Music had all of the Muzak songs, and we were able to get a guy by the name of Macintosh, that's his screen name, to get us his satellite, hook it in, and all of a sudden, within a couple of hours of listening, and that's what Sketchy and all them are talking about.
so
All
your
of a
friend
sudden,
bought you a Mood Media player that had the
yeah,
disc in it, and you downloaded all the stuff on it.
yes, we were able to get that song finally, and as soon as everybody exploded. It was just like it was.
Interesting.
There's a lot missing still, and we're still looking for them. And
Tell me some of the things that are missing.
well, there's a lot that we don't even have the name for. That we just have the tune. And we have people of all ages searching TikTok. You'd be surprised how many videos appear there. YouTube, Facebook, all over the place in different languages, different ages, everywhere. Trying to find new home media from before 9/11. We're not really concerned so much about 9/11 as 1999, 2000, 2001, 1994.
Right.
We found out that also on 9/11, Pachelbel's Canon in D, the wedding march played for 11 minutes, an hour before. We also know that Have I Told You Lately, the Muzak cover by Rod Stewart, played exactly 1 hour before Flight 11. So we have those, but there's a lot that, very faint. We can't figure out what song is this, what song is that. We've actually found 4 songs this month alone. That we've one by Dire Straits, Bad Sneakers.
Mm-hmm.
We found Never Can Say Goodbye by the Jackson 5. Steely Dan, excuse me, Bad Sneakers by Steely Dan.
I can remember hearing the Jackson 5 in an elevator for sure.
Not Dire Straits. I love both Steely Dan and Dire Straits. Both seen them live, but Bad Sneakers by Steely Dan. And then we've found some, that we talked with Donnie Marrow about it, and he was able to get us.
Tell me who Donnie Marrow is. I'm not familiar with his name.
He's the producer from Disguise.
Interesting.
And he was able to get us an exclusive song. We haven't posted anywhere because we're honoring wishes that were made, but we do
Right.
have it. It was played on August 18th, 2001, 3 weeks before. And
Do you have a website?
no, we're working on that. That's a work in progress. We talk kind of on a not futuristic version of Skype, but it's Discord. And we talk, we hang out in there, we listen, and we share new videos. We have that YouTube channel that Dan shared you, pre 9/11, where it's all about getting those clips that I was just talking about, putting them on, putting them all in one location, and then he makes a compilation every month of where we're at, the missing songs that we still don't have yet, that we haven't
Right.
identified. We have the
Right.
music, but we don't know what song.
Here's
goes
how
where.
we can figure it out, though. I can tell you, we can just do it using the track sheets from the original albums, and then we can make an estimate of what was on that disc. Roll it out. We'll time it out, and then back time the whole thing so we know what the elapsed time is, and we'll be good. We'll figure it out.
We can.
If for no other reason, I'm interested in this because
It's cool.
if nothing else, it's bringing a bunch of people together, and we're kind of just it's almost I feel like I'm whistling past the graveyard, and I don't want anybody to think it's the case.
Yeah.
9/11 is a fascinating and terrible tragedy, but people it changed our lives, and it's an interesting topic. I was going to have a 9/11 show. And this is kind of developing into it. Who knows? I may call you back on before 9/11.
That's fine with me.
Have you? We might do a small segment or something, cut this down, but it is kind of fascinating to me that you guys are doing this.
And really,
Daniel's quoting here. Thanks, Dan. You guys are both like my perfect guests because you came in and you're talking about something I know a lot about Muzak, which is why I'm so excited and drawn in. As I've mentioned earlier, I worked for them for a long time, and I'm very proud of the company. We were at the point I worked for them, we were building it back from bankruptcy, and we took it out of bankruptcy and got it to where, well, hell, it was able to be sold and looted. I mean, by Mood Media.
well, I love it.
You guys up there. Some of your tech projects, you could screw up a wet dream on Friday night, man. Seriously, my friends in Toronto, bite it.
I love it. I love like the songs, and I know it gets a bad reputation a little bit, but I love listening to these songs. I listen to them all the time.
Let's ask the audience about this because I think this stuff is great to have on in the background. I used to have one of those media players. I'd drag it around with me when I was doing sales. And the poor, like some of my competitors, they came in and they had like, what might think which one it was. Anyway, it was FM. No, who Sirius? It was Sirius. They had this little antenna you could stick in the window. And it was terrible. It sounded worse than an FM radio. A good FM radio sounded far better than this little honky. And I'd be out on sales calls and I'd see the guy and he'd see me and it was like the kiss of death. The poor dude would be like, oh, that asshole's coming over here again. I'd follow him around and I kind of considered that territory mine. It was my territory for Muzak. And so I was kind of like the old crocodile in the back of the pond. I'd see somebody new in the pond and be like, get out of here. My neighborhood, you know? But yeah, that little thing that we provided, the ones back in the day, back in that year, they were pretty primitive. You know, one thing about Muzak is we did start using many formats before it was in popular use. A lot of people don't realize that we were the first commercial company to go digital in the world. Our digital discs, other people were using satellite broadcasts, which I will tell you the goods and bads of it. Satellite had rain fade. And so I'd always hear from my customers. Then we put a little dongle in there that would back up an hour of time on the dish thing. I don't know if you know how much of this you know or don't know, but it might be boring. And so if anybody's being bored in the audience, well, drink up, you know, have another.
I'm entertained. I like learning about it because it was a talk. I remember before I really got involved, there was forums about the World Trade Center on skyscrapercity.com. It's a forum board and they share photos and stuff. And it was always a debate on whether or not it was a CD or a cassette or a satellite. And we still really don't fully know what it is. The Port Authority won't tell us what it was. I don't know why they won't. It's not like we could break
back up a little bit. I mean, what did they hear on it?
No, that we don't know if the music came from a CD, that was in a recorder, a cassette that was in a player, or if it was from the North Tower antenna. We don't know.
Oh, so it might have been it could have been the satellite. I'm going to say that some of it went off that was in the tower with the antenna.
Yeah.
A whole shitload of stuff went off. I know people who were involved in that. Now that you've got my interest, I'm going to call some of the people I know. I know a shit pile of people who work for Muzak all over the country and the world. And I think it's really fascinating. You know something, mate? You guys up in Canada, I love you guys. You really are. I worked for a Canadian company. I did not work for Mood Media, but I worked for a very hush-hush company. And we did sound masking, the cone of silence for the government and things like that. I love doing it. And I can't tell anybody all the cool stuff, or I'd have to kill someone. And it doesn't matter. It used to be we got to kill you, but now we just find someone and
just someone.
It gets in the queue. The bills get paid. That's all that matters.
But to answer a question that you posed before about how many people are in it, I would say we have close to 100 people
Mhm.
Like I said, of all ages, and I think what's great is that they're people that are teenagers who love it,
I am just amazed.
and I think that that's great, right? Like that
I do too.
teenagers are getting involved. 16. We have one 15-year-old who loves it, and you look at that 15. He was born what 7 years after
Well,
9/11.
is there anything on Reddit yet?
We've posted on Reddit like Lost Media,
Okay.
places like that, asking like, "Hey, does anybody recognize this tune? Does anybody recognize this?" And we get a whole bunch of, "Oh, that's really cool, but um, I can't help you. I can't figure it out." And it's like, that's great. I love that you think it's cool, but
I
you
think
know,
just finding out what went off, like I'll find out because I know I can find out what hardware was leased to the tower, to
and
both of them.
that would help us
In
because I
fact,
think
I'm going to guess that we probably had. Oh my God, that building is huge. We probably had 100 receivers in that place. Numbers of offices and all that shit. I like this guy, the Gerald Bullway. It's funny. One of my great friends and fans was here last week from Australia, and I was joking about how I always love these Canadians and the South Africans and all the Australians. They're all fucking as crazy as New Yorkers, man. They're just out of their mind, half of them.
we are.
They handle snakes and pass them around, and they fucking bite you shit all the time. Let's see what we've got. I listen to music every day.
So do I.
Scribble, do you work in a place that still has it? There are places still running that stuff.
A lot of the diners on Long Island, they still play it. They still play it, and I'm
Yeah.
praying one day that I'll be there and I hear a song that we're missing and be like, oh, whoa,
We're
what's
going to
this?
find out. I'm going to get you the info of everything that's on that disc, the timing for it, because now I got to know, man. And I mean,
Listen,
really, it's just
if we
something
could
cool.
figure that out,
It's kind of whimsical, but it's a tad morbid. But we want to know.
but really what it is, yeah, it's that curiosity, but also we're doing it, I think, to preserve the memory of all of those thousands of normal days that the World Trade Center had instead of the one bad day. And what we've kind of our unofficial slogan, and I'm working on a project with Dan and a couple of people to put on YouTube, and the catchphrase of it is the unwitting soundtrack to America's darkest day, because
I like it.
it didn't want to be
Nice,
there.
quick, nice, tight, media bite.
It didn't want to be there. It was, but let's remember all the good times. The
Sure.
33 years before 9/11 that the World Trade Center stood, and how and that memory, and that's really what that YouTube channel is there for, to put all these home videos of these kids running around and people
Right.
shuffling about their day and the music playing and trying to figure out these songs. And
It was pretty fascinating. I watched some of that in the past. It was great. Dan called, and Dan, thank you. I know you are giving me. I'm reading what you're telling me, and I'm glad to have run into you. It's just an interesting thing. There's a few people left out there, and this show gets watched. People don't just sit here and watch it now, so don't feel like this will be out, and a lot of people are going to be content. I just have a feeling, and let's see. How wide is the geographic spread? You said you've gotten some people around the world who are kind of interested in this.
I just it's odd, and I don't really know how to explain it, because you have people, like I said, Dan, he's across the pond, right? He's in England, wasn't born for 9/11, but extremely interested, loves music, but music as well. It's hard. I get those
Right.
words confused.
Well,
It's very
there
close.
used to be fans of it that really hated our new stuff. It's so odd. When I moved, selling music in Florida is a lot different than selling here in the capital of the world, or capital of this world anyway. Um, it's a trip because, like, down there, I'd have to sell, my like a recurring rate. We'd sell 5-year contracts, and it might be, I don't know, like for just music at, say, at McDonald's, they get their shit for $25 a month and have for decades.
Yeah.
They are an 800-pound gorilla, and it's great. I mean, I didn't like going to them because I had hundreds of them, and I'm always just renewing a contract. It wasn't like it's kind of what you call low-hanging fruit. It paid the bills. Let's see what Mary's got to say. Okay, Scribble. Yeah, I'm sure, man. Environmental now would drive some of the young people out of their mind. I mean, God, I'll tell you something funny, folks. We found in Florida, in Tampa, there's a street called Kennedy Boulevard. Now, back in the old days, hi Daniel, I see you back here. Back in the old days, Kennedy Boulevard was known for the ladies of the evening who would lurk in the shadows and jump out and flash you and stuff. It used to be really crazy out there. Like I'm talking 30 years ago. We would get all these dirt bags hanging around the convenience stores, and undesirables as they would be called. And we did a couple of things. One of the things we did is we put that environmental music on really fucking loud in the parking lot. Those folks, it made it on the news. We showed these fucking dirtballs sitting there, and 1 minute they're like lurking in the shadows. You know, they're in their villain outfit, the scarf and the stripes, and they're lurking around. The music pops on, and it's like, you know, I feel for your love. And they're just like, God, they're not shut down. And then they'd complain to the store, but it ran them off. The other thing we tried to do that was a little different is we played a really high-pitched tone, actually several tones, meant to really get their hair up. And it doesn't work on old people. So like, and remember, us old people, we may be slow and old, but we'll stay up late and plot our revenge, man. It would be really good. You know, so that we introduced that because and that really, people who have great hearing, which you young folks do, you guys hear that and it'll make you have a headache and you'll get feeling uncomfortable. For those of you watching, this is kind of an odd show, I know. I've just canned the things. I love these folks, what they're talking about. Let's see who we got here. I'm young folk and I love it. I'd listen over the EDM that is played literally. Yeah, that's every time I go to Europe and have in the past. Yes, to answer your question, Sketchy Dude, I'd have to, you know, kill you again if I tell you all the stuff I know. There's been some benefits to having some classified info. And trust me, we've got the fucking UFO. They're not in the desert though. They're all buried in the Federal Reserve Bank in New York. So make sure you get that right.
But like that's where our search led us when we got to that satellite in December of 2021 when we got like other songs like After the Love Is Gone, right, by Earth, Wind and Fire. Say What's in Your Heart, that was in a July of 2001 home video, all environmental, and that's where we've just been hanging out, praying that we hear these songs, you know, that we're missing, and you know, we hear that tune that that we have memorized that we're just waiting to hear. And unfortunately, it's August. We still haven't heard it, but we will. Hopefully, we will one day hear our mystery songs. And I don't know if Dan's shared you what were those mystery songs, but you know they're there.
Well, I'm gonna pull up another. We still got a little time. Let's see. I'm getting a message from back in the dungeons. Wow. Daniel's in his teenage years. I would have never guessed from his maturity level. Dan, nice to meet you, man. I thought you were an old cooter like myself.
No, he's a young kid and he's a good kid, nice guy. He'll give you the shirt off his back. He's a good person and he's our leader. You know, yeah, I'm the spokesman, Dan, but he's the leader.
You know, I want to talk to you and help you guys any way I can because it's just such a cool, funky project.
And we appreciate any and all help.
And I'm gonna definitely. I got a bunch of friends tonight when I'm just sitting around after the show and chilling. I'll send out a blast. We'll get some info. We'll see what we can do. Sadly, my friend who knows tons of the stories had a stroke. For anybody out there who knows Tampa Dave, my friend David Register, he's alive. He's cognizant whenever I go in and I look at him and I go, "Hey, Dave, how you doing? You look like shit." And I had to do that the first time. I know that sounds really unkind, but when he first had this problem, him and I have been friends for 30 years. And it was the kind of situation where everybody's up going, "Oh, you look so good. You're fucking feeling great, aren't you?" I looked at him and I was like, this motherfucker is not feeling good. I hate to put too much of a point on it, but he's not looking so good. He's still alive. And, you know, Dave, we're going to be going out. Take him out to Hooters and have some wings and see some young ladies and all the stuff. I don't know if Hooters is going to last. I think all the people who get all offended about things that are fun are going to have like a heart attack if a bunch of young men want to go look at breasts and tails. I mean, what can I tell you?
I'm surprised it's still around in 22.
I am too, you'd think. But then they have like the tilted kilt. Have you heard of that?
Yes.
hot chicks,
Yep.
boobs and wings, boobs, butts and wings. I mean, and I love it. You know, that's the American way.
Well, I was just watching the Met game
Hmm.
yesterday against Atlanta, and it was a sign for Hooters, but it's not called Hooters. It's called Hoots. And the
Oh,
colors are different. They're not orange and white anymore. It's blue because it said wings and other things. That's what it
is
said
it
on it.
is it a smaller like branding for like different small locations, or is it
I
just
don't.
they may be going the whole political correctness route,
It
which you know.
might be. I don't know because it was blue and white. We didn't. I'm looking at. It, I'm like that doesn't look like that. Like that doesn't look normal to me. But yeah, it is. I get. I don't know if it's a regional thing that's how they're doing it now. But
You know, at the end of the day, the wings suck. I hate to say that. And I did sound in the first ever Hooters. One of the other things when I lived in Tampa, I worked for a guy named Joey Donovan, and it was either him or Paragon Music. All those days of installations they run together. But I remember doing the first Carrabba's as well, and
mm,
servicing Outback Steakhouse. Tampa back in those days was great for building brands. In this case, with the DJ industry, they kind of became a training ground for right wing radio. And Glenn Burt, what's his name?
Beck.
Glenn something. I can't
Beck.
think of his name. Glenn Beck. He came out of the Tampa School of Independent Broadcasting. Yes, you too can be a wiener on the air. Um, so anybody out there, there's a few of you left, and anything you have questions you want to ask. Otherwise, I'm going to go ahead and put up some of this music. Let me bear with me. I'm just going to have to look. It's funny because Red Lobster was a Muzak client in Florida, and I can guarantee you at the Lakeland store, they definitely had environmental old school, like up until the time I went and started working at Muzak. I probably called Dave, my friend I'm talking, and said, Dave, have you got a disc in the truck? They're playing that fucking environmental down there, driving people out of their mind. It's funny because there's so many people who love our company and then people who hated it. I can tell you, if you sold Muzak back in those days, you had to have a real sense of humor and you have to have thick skin.
Mm.
Because I would go in and just get roasted sometimes. They'd be like, "Oh, the elevator music died. You're so cool," And they'd go, "Get out of my office. You guys suck." And I'd be like, "No, we don't." But some
No.
of us swallow. I'm kidding. It was like really in those days. That's why I could deal with sales. I have absolutely thick skin, and when people say fucked up shit to me, I'm inclined to, it's like they can't win. I've got a microphone, and
Yeah.
you kind of have to warn them.
But I just know from myself speaking and a bunch of other of really all the other people in our search is I admire the craft, the musical ability. Everyone kind of
Right.
says, "Oh, it's music." No, I think that especially somebody like we just heard "How Deep Is Your Love" with Chad Quist. That takes talent, and it's the amazing
Yes.
amount of talent, and I appreciate that. And coming as someone raised in music, I was in chorus my whole life and stuff like that.
Hmm.
Um, who knows about vocal patterns and stuff like that. And I took music theory. It's I have a deep appreciation. I love it. I
You know
love it.
what? They say that if you live long enough, you come cool again. And I just like the fact that you young folks, you young whippersnappers out there, hey, listen, I'm like Joe Biden, man. I got to go and change my Depends real quick. I'm sorry, please. I didn't say that, did I? Yeah, we did. Any rate, I'm going to have to, get freshened up. I've got some plans for this evening. I'm not sure what they are, but I'm sitting in my office. It's really hot here, and we're about to go on. But before we go, I'm going to let this run for a minute, and I'm going to be here hanging. These people are paying a lot of money to see us. How old is Scribble?
I don't I don't know.
I just, it's my mind is blown that a bunch of you young guys are into music. I'm really,
13.
are you kidding me?
That's what I'm saying. We have a lot of young people, and it's so
Holy
amazing.
shit.
People who were, even after music, kind of stopped being sold widespread or closed, whatever you want to call it,
Right.
who love it and they listen to it all the time. Scribble said in past messages he listens to it every day. And that's someone who's
I,
13 years old.
I'm really having a great time today. This is fun, and I know probably some of the people watching don't get it because it's just nerd stuff.
And it
But
probably makes you feel good that it's being appreciated by another generation of people.
oh, it makes me feel great because when I worked for them both times, we had a brand that was something, and we pulled it out of bankruptcy. We had all the music rebranded, but we kept that old environmental because when they tried to get rid of it, they had a bitch fist the size of Texas. It was like, and I'll tell you, people take their music seriously. Um, that company, we diverged into a lot of other things. Like we have the, how would I call it? It's like a shock collar for drive-in employees. It's called a drive-in timer. And whenever I'd have to, first off, I sold everything at Muzak, from small rooms, single drop off at a medical doctor, to lots of big buildings here, at the airport, the Marriott Renaissance, all these other big, huge venues. And it was interesting though, because we put in like really hot shit music. We were playing acid jazz before anybody knew what the hell that was. And I thought that was really cool. I think it's so, for you older folks, my regulars here, it's so weird and cool. Look at this guy was born 3 months after 9/11. Wow. Holy cow. That's just crazy.
Dan's in our teenage years, the guy that runs that pre 9/11. He's a teenager. It's just, there's a deep appreciation for it. And I think that as a historian, somebody who likes history, that's a great on that frame of mind. But then also with the music, it's keeping it alive. It's keeping it
How you
going.
doing with the ladies? You got a girlfriend?
Yes.
Is she hot?
Yeah, pretty good. Yeah.
All right. Is she there with you?
No.
Too bad.
Tonight.
We'll send the shows to her though.
Tonight.
At least you said the right answer, man.
Yes.
Do you know any women who are into music?
I think
any
that
older women. No, I'm kidding.
I think. No, I mean, I've turned my family on into this search because they think it's intriguing too. And like I said, there's 9/11 first responders in there as well. And when I interviewed my uncle, because I just did a project on them, it's on my SoundCloud of the three of them, the three brothers. And I titled it Three Brothers, Two Towers, One Day. And I did all about their experience with that day and the days after. And afterwards, my uncle was saying, there's a video of some music playing on the plaza. And I was like, we've got that song. We got that. That's how deep is your love.
It's
We got
funny
that.
because after I talked to Daniel the other day,
clip
I
is
have no idea. How the hell did you guys, Daniel, how did you stumble upon my show of all places?
I don't know about that. I can't answer that one. But
I know he's still lurking. I'm reading him in the back.
But
and he'll kick my ass.
It's just also that Jack tape was always featured in so many documentaries. It's in the One Day in America documentary Nat Geo made last year. It's featured all over the place. And I think that made it more widespread where people have seen that particular tape of it. He's done interviews himself and talked about it because he filmed, after he left the plaza, he filmed a bunch of people going into 4 World Trade Center right before the collapse of the South Tower, and all those people died. And it's the last moments that those people have, and the families appreciate it. And they just did an interview, NewJersey.com, just did an interview with him about it, about Denise Conley is her name, the security guard at 4 World Trade. He filmed her after he did the music piece.
Right.
So that tape is a very famous piece of tape.
I see every year. I watch the ceremony or have been there, and it just tears your heart. It's like a scab that'll never heal. Nope. And it blows my mind. And I got to tell you, this is going in my journal about weird things that happen sometimes on the show that you just don't really know. I mean, I do a show primarily music, comedy. We just make jokes about shit, as you can tell. Like, we say bad words.
I love jokes. I'm funny. I don't know.
I do too. I think you're funny too. You're great.
Yeah, funny to look at. No. But it's it's just fun. It's fun to just hang out and talk about this with especially with a professional of your stature. It's a big deal. It's a big honor for me to kind of be the spokesman for it on this show. It's a big honor for me. Tremendous.
Absolutely. Well, I think you did a great job, and I'm really happy talking to all of you guys. Like I said, If you have a page, I already subscribed to yours. So any of you guys who are watching, and if you like the show, that's the best thing you can do to help me out. It's just getting our YouTube numbers up, because it's like we have lots of people who watch, but they don't watch us there. They watch it here, and hell, if Facebook closes, I won't know where to go. You know, Susan, I'm going to play. You just asked about Just the Way You Are. I have it queued up here. Just bear with me. No, I have She's Always a Woman. Hang on, people.
That's After Love Is Gone, which was also played at the World Trade Center, which we wanted, and we caught that one.
I'm sorry, say that again.
We caught that one. That was also at the World Trade Center in 2001. We wanted that one. It kind of went like in the order we wanted it when we got onto that satellite. It went that one, Say What's in Your Heart. Then it went She's Always a Woman. And then we finished it off with How Deep Is Your Love.
Right. Just bear with me, guys. I'm trying to get this thing to share a video file. Okay. Why isn't it doing it? Hold on. I'm going to kill this, close that one, and see all the official World Trade music, environmental music. Here it is. There it is, people. Billy Joel. Let me get it to go up. Share. Where is it? All right. Well, we're having a little technical difficulty. Can you hear that?
Yes. I can.
Good. Yeah, this
And as a Billy Joel fan, as a Long Islander, it's like I love this song. So
I love Billy Joel too.
I love The Stranger, so I have it on vinyl right behind me. So I love this album.
Yeah, I'm a musician, so like I played all of like when Billy was coming up. I stole every Liberty DeVito lick I can.
Yeah.
And I've had him on the show and gone and seen him. He's just a great guy, great drummer. And the Jack T tape. What is the Jack T tape?
That's Jack Delursio.
Oh,
I can see it too.
Now I got it. Now I know the lingo. I'm catching on.
I can see it too.
Yeah, this is like, yeah, everybody's mom likes Billy Joel, dude.
Mine does. I went to Hicksville High School. Not after him, but...
Right. All right, people. It is about time to say goodbye, but this has really been fun.
I enjoyed it.
I'm going to get you a bunch of info, and we're going to have you back on, and we'll keep up for our fans. I know some of my fans will really think this is cool. And
absolutely. Anytime.
I'm actually stumped because this is really unique. I've been trying to figure out how the hell to get young people to watch the show. Like, you know, I know that like people in my generation, the music we listen to and the stuff we talk about. And I also know because I've got nieces and nephews who know that I'm their evil Uncle Neil, who they laugh their ass off at all the time. And I'm the cool uncle, so to speak. And I don't know. It's just really, I'm thinking. And when I think, things happen. Some of them not too good. I'm kidding. Thanks, guys. I really come back. You know, we're on every Friday, 10 and 4, and you've been a lot of fun. I just had a feeling this was going to be a great fun. So, everybody, thanks for watching Live with Neve.
Change